April 1st, 1979, a day when a president goes out of his way to allay the fears of a small village. The area's main source of employment has suddenly turned into a threat to its very health and welfare. And it's no local story either. The entire country is watching anxiously to see which way the wind will blow.
A lot of people felt that when the president came, he brought his wife, that he wouldn't subject her to any danger, so things maybe aren't as bad as they say they are.
April 1st, 1979, President Jimmy Carter and his wife make an emergency trip to the tiny Pennsylvania town of Middletown. They are there to reassure residents that all is well in the wake of the worst nuclear accident in United States history. It had begun 5 days before, during the early morning hours of March 28th. A frightening sequence of human errors and plant malfunctions at the nearby 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant threatened to shower the area with deadly radioactive gases.
I was on hall duty, and I received a phone call from my civil defense director. He notified me that there was an accident at the island, and I asked him, I said, just what kind of an accident? And he said, I don't know. He said, we're not getting too much information from the island, but all we know is that there is an accident.
Middletown Mayor Robert Reed is teaching school when he first learns of the crisis. It is already nearly 6 hours since the temperature at the Unit 2 reactor began to soar. Information is scarce, but it is obvious that things are not under control.
We turned on television sets, we turned on radios, we went from channel to channel, we went from station to station trying to find out exactly what was going on down at the island.
Immediately, the mere mention of radiation exposure sends many into a panic. Despite living in the shadow of a nuclear facility, Middletown residents never thought to prepare for this day. There is chaos at the local school.
The parking lot was like a demolition derby. Cars all over the place, motors running, doors open, parents running from the parking lot into the school, howling for their children.
My sister-in-law came running in my front door and said, well, she panicked. She said, TMI was going to blow up.
Cheryl Forsyth is angered by the lack of early information.
What did we do? We never thought about this before. It wasn't supposed to happen.
I just knew that the people down there didn't know what was going on.
For more than 48 hours, Middletown citizens wade in a sea of misinformation. Several alarming radiation releases over that period are being played down by plant officials.
I tried to contact the plant, and at that time, all the telephone lines were overloaded.
Then on the morning of March 30th, the crisis escalates. A hydrogen bubble forms in a reactor chamber. If the bubble is not controlled, it would cause a nuclear meltdown, sending massive amounts of radiation into the ground.
Friday, well, I call it Black Friday. Everyone was again confused. A lot of people felt that there would be an explosion.
An uncontrolled release of radiation spewed from the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant today.
The governor, Richard Thornburg, advised all pregnant women and preschool children to get out of the area within 5 miles of the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant.
Middletown residents are bombarded with conflicting reports. Thousands of people flee the area. Others stay, like Judith White, who risked the radiation rather than abandon her home.
I didn't want to leave everything that I had, plus I couldn't afford to leave.
I remember thinking, what should I take? If something happens, I won't be able to come back home. I took all the important papers. I took all the photograph albums.
Please stay indoors with your windows closed.
I wasn't letting my children go outside at that point, and I wasn't going outside myself. I felt badly that the dog had to go outside. I just basically wanted to get out of here.
That evening, I had to call for a curfew. People walked out of their homes. They left money, jewelry on sinks and counters and left their doors wide open.
Despite the growing sense of danger, Peg Gephardt is not concerned until that night.
My son called and he asked me what we're going to do. And I said, well, I'm staying here. I said, I packed some clothes enough for 3 or 4 days. And he said, Mother, if you go, you're not coming back.
It was dark. A lot of the houses were dark. It was just an eerie scene that Friday night.
Well, I felt we were on our own.
It took 5 more frantic days for workers to completely control the hydrogen bubble. But the incident was far from over. Some Middletown residents have already been exposed to radiation levels 14 times normal. For them, the fear of health problems and another accident would haunt them forever.
I don't dwell on it. I try to put it in the back of my mind because, as far as I know, there's nothing I can really do about it. I can't make it go away. It's already happened.
Cheryl Forsyth, Judith White, and Peg Gephardt all continue to live in Middletown, where Robert Reed is still the mayor. Numerous studies from the state of Pennsylvania have given the area a clean bill of health. Still, unofficial surveys have shown clusters of cancer downwind of the plant. Plant officials hope to eventually release the remaining 2 million gallons of radioactive water as steam over an 18-month period. They claim the process will expose residents to no more than 2 hours of normal background radiation.